including our special guest coming in from Japan tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Another episode of Neil the Deal, featuring Neil the Deal himself here on Talkin' Fight. Tonight, who are we featuring tonight?
Hey, good evening, Graham. How you doing? Nice to see you, Talkin' Fight fans. Thanks for coming out, checking out the show. Yeah, we're flying in another Japanese fighter. We had one last week, and he seemed to, you guys really liked him. So the views have been going up really well. So we figured we'd talk a little bit about another Japanese guy that I kind of like. And his name is Kazuto Ioka. Kazuto Ioka. He's basically an older Japanese fighter. He's not as young as Inui, but he's really well known in Japan. He's really well liked, and he is a world champion. So we're going to talk about him, and hopefully you guys will like the show on him tonight. Absolutely. Have you ever heard of Kazuto Ioka, Graham, at all?
You put me on the spot, man. I had to Google him. I'll be honest. I had to Google him.
Yeah, that's all right. So, oh yeah, no, he's probably the second most popular boxer in Japan right now, and has been for a long time. He's had quite a long career, and he's been very, very successful. So, okay, guys, let's just go over a little bit of stuff about Mr. Ioka. All right, so he was born May 24th, 1989 in Saki, Osaka, Japan. And that makes him 32 years old, right? So he's fought in 4 weight divisions. This is interesting, Graham. You'll like this. Mini flyweight, which I guess would be strawweight, the lowest mini flyweight. Light flyweight, and super flyweight. All right? So I know super flyweight's 115 pounds. So mini flyweight must be 105 pounds. I believe it's the same as strawweight, I guess. The lowest weight class that there is. So that's very interesting. But he fights primarily now in super flyweight. His career started in 2009, his pro career, and he is actively a present fighter. And he presently is ranked as the world's 4th best active super featherweight in the world by BoxRec and 3rd by Ring Magazine. So he's right up there. He is. This is an excellent stat. I never knew this, but he is the first Japanese boxer to become a 4 weight class world champion. Pretty cool, eh?
That is. I did not know that.
First Japanese boxer to do that. So congratulations, Kazuto. That's awesome. And he presently holds the WBO super flyweight title, which he won in 2019. So he is a world champion as we speak. He started fighting at 13 years old. And apparently his uncle, I had heard of his uncle. When I thought about his name, I remember his uncle a little bit, just breezing the name by it. His uncle is Hiroki Ioka, and he was a world champion in the flyweight and minimum flyweight division back in the 80s and the 90s. So I can just remember hearing his name, kind of them talking about him and this and that. So it's kind of in the family because his father is also training him when he was an amateur, and still trains him now as a professional. And I'm sure his uncle helps out too. So I guess it's like, all in the family over there. They're all working together, right? Which is really cool. So he had a really good amateur career. He had 105 bouts, all totaled, of which he won 95 bouts of those 105. And he apparently had 64 knockouts in those 95 wins. He only had 10 losses as an amateur. So that's a phenomenal amateur career. And he won some tournaments and stuff. We'll go over that, guys. Check this out. When he was younger, he won 6 national high school tournaments. He in 2008, he reached the semifinals of the King's Cup, which is an amateur tournament held in Thailand. Apparently, it's a really big tournament, amateur tournament, the King's Cup, they call it, in Thailand. And he also won 4 consecutive National Sports Festival, came first place in the boxing division of that. And I understand that is very big in Japan as well, the National Sports Festival. It's an amateur festival. It circumferences everything from ice hockey and skating to swimming to golf to baseball to football. It's like It's huge. It's like a really, really big thing. So he competed in the boxing back in the day there when he was an amateur and did really well. He won 4 consecutive times in the boxing division. So I believe he was in light flyweight when he was boxing. So very interesting. Now he's a really, like, I've seen him fight a couple of times. He's a really, really good fighter. He works the ring really well. I noticed that. Like he seems to stay in the middle of the ring and he keeps his opponents. Once he gets them going, he pushes them into the corners, and he's got a really good combinations. He throws really good combinations and good body shots. He's a good body puncher, and he's basically, as I say, a well-rounded fighter. He's got everything going for him, basically, I would say. You know what I mean? He's got a pretty good jab, and he throws. He's not the hardest puncher, but he can knock guys out. Put it that way. He's. We're going to go over his pro totals now, and you'll see what that's all about. So his pro totals are like this: he has 28 bouts under his belt, 28 bouts, of which he has 26 wins, and he only has 2 losses. And he has the 15 KOs out of the 26 wins. So that's almost that's a little more than 50%, probably closer to the 60% mark. So, you know, he can definitely knock you out. I noticed with these lighter fighters, you know, these guys in the light divisions, they don't have a lot of knockout power because they're just not that big. You know what I mean?
Right.
They throw a lot of punches. You know, they throw a lot of combinations. They definitely get involved, both of them, and they seem to have endless energy, if you know what I mean. They don't tire as easily as the bigger guys, but they don't necessarily always have big knockout numbers down in the super flyweight division, bantamweight, stuff like that. So let's just go over a little more of his pro totals. He turned pro in 2009. He won his first 5 fights, and then in October 2010, he won his first title, which was the Japanese light flyweight title. So that was a title within Japan, the Japanese lightweight title. February 2011, he won the WBC mini flyweight title. And February 2012, he won the WBA mini flyweight title. So he has the WBC and the WBA. December 2012, he won the WBA light flyweight title. And in April 2015, he won the WBA flyweight title. So he started winning some world titles later on in his career. September 2018, he won the WBC silver super flyweight title. And in June 2019, which he is presently still holding, he won the WBO super flyweight title. So he's won quite a number. Like I say, he's the first Japanese fighter, right, Graham, to win in 4 weight class divisions. I guess it would be mini, flyweight, light flyweight, flyweight, and super flyweight, right? So he's basically won in every division that he's fought in, which is pretty amazing.
It is.
Now in his most recent bout, guys, he beat a countryman that he's kind of his new nemesis, I guess they would call it. And it was a really big fight in Japan. I understand in Japan it was really big. He fought a guy named Kosei Tanaka, and he's touted as like the new up and comer guy in Japan, and Ioka ended up KOing Tanaka in the 8th round, and that was December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2020. That was his last fight. So he was the champion, and he wasn't even favored, I understand, in that fight, and he pulled it off. You know what I mean, Graham? Pulled it off in front of the hometown fans. I watched that fight, and I would suggest if you guys want to see him fight, that was probably his best fight. Is the biggest fight that he's been in to date. Because Tanaka was undefeated at the time. He's 15-0, right? And he was also a 3-time 3-weight champion as well. So, I mean, Tanaka is coming up as the big, the guy who's gonna, basically be the guy going forward, because Ioka has, he's 32. I know that he was contemplating retirement back in 2017, but he decided to keep going. But we'll see what happens in the future with him. I would probably think that, you know, he would probably want to have some sort of a title fight against Juan Francisco Estrada, who has the WBC and WBA titles, right? He's a title holder, so he's going to want to be fighting the other title holders or something of that sort. I can't really see him going down, like taking guys lower than that right now. There's also a really good super flyweight, a Filipino guy, Graham. There we go with the Filipinos. His name is Jerwin and Cassias, I guess it is. Jerwin and Cassias, and apparently he's the IBF super flyweight champion. So maybe there's a chance that Ioka will fight him. They haven't really said anything much. I guess they don't have anything set for him as of yet. But those would be some of the things I would think you guys might want to look out for with Ioka in the 2021, later this year, or 2022. Now, notable fights, if you wanted to check out any of his fights, that Tanaka fight, the Kosei Tanaka fight, was fantastic. That was the most recent one. He also fought a really good fight in the Ashton Palatite fight, and the McWilliams Arroyo fight was really good too, guys. So any of those fights, if you're interested in checking out Kazuto Ioka, those would be the 3 fights I would probably take a look at right there. So hopefully you enjoyed the episode on Kazuto. I certainly did. I learned a lot about him, and I had a good time. These Japanese fighters are interesting. We don't get to see them much because they're always fighting in Japan. You know?
There was one on the undercard during the Alvarez fight on Saturday.
Matsuyama or something. His name was Matsuyama or something like that?
Yeah. Not Kamayaka.
Kamayaka? Yeah.
Anyway, I was saying, like, yeah, we definitely are seeing more and more Japanese fighters coming over to North America to fight for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like I say, these guys are. He's a world champion, so I'm sure they're going to be doing these fights in the United States coming up, and I'll be looking forward to seeing them. You know, I'll be looking forward to see any of the Japanese fighters. I like them.
Yeah,
they fight with a lot of heart. You can tell they have that never give up style. I like that. You know,
yeah, good stuff.
A lot of heart. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for coming out, watching the show. Really appreciate it. The likes, the shares, the subscriptions, all that stuff, and the notification bell. Bang it if you want to see me around 7 o'clock. Thanks a lot, Graham, for having me out. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
You got it.
All right, guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.